Far Point Farms here in the mountains, North Carolina. Today we'll be working on this Husqvarna 128D. I've had this thing for like 5-6 years now, actually more like 7 or 8 I guess. And I realized that I'd never really done anything to it. These things are really reliable, they just run. But I figured it was time to give it a little bit of love. So I'm going to be taking out the spark plug and cleaning that off. I'm going to be replacing the air filter and the fuel filter. I've got the parts here and the tools here. So let's put this thing on the bench and clean it up. Now, if you have a Husqvarna and you're having issues with it, chances are this is probably what it's going to take to fix it. Let's do it. Here we are with everything we're going to need to do this, and probably don't even need all of this stuff, but I have a pair of needle nose pliers. These are long reach. Probably don't need long reach. I do have this little angled pick here, and that's kind of important for fishing out the fuel line that goes to that fuel filter. Then to do our spark plug, this is just a 19mm deep well socket on a 3/8 ratcheting wrench. To clean our spark plug, just a brush, wire brush. Actually, I think that was nylon, but it'll do the trick. And then as far as parts go, if you have a 128D, well, fuel filter fits 128 trimmers. And there's the part number there. I won't read it for you, but you can read that yourself. Then here's our air filter. This is the smallest air filter of all time, but there it is. Fits 128 trimmers. My understanding is Husqvarna, after all these years, has just finally stopped making the 128, but what they've replaced it with is basically the 128. So these parts are probably compatible with the new version as well. All right, let me move this off to the side and we will start working on it. First thing we're going to do is take out the spark plug. All right, here we go with our spark plug. We're just going to pull back on that and kind of tuck it out of the way. We'll get our ratchet down in there. And then it's a snug fit, but get that and start it, and it should unscrew. Now, I would have replaced this because this thing's got some years and some miles on it, but they actually weren't available when I was at the store. RCJ8Y is the plug type. And you can see this one's wet, so first thing I'm going to do before I even try to brush it off is I'm just going to clean some of that off of there. I haven't fired this thing up at all this year, but we're getting ready to use it, and I figured I'd go ahead and clean it up. So then we're just going to take our brush and start cleaning off any of that carbon, any of that soot that's on there. And there we go. Let's wipe all that residue off of it. And you can see it's cleaned up. It may be a little hard to see on camera, but we've shined up and got all the debris off of it. The porcelain's a little discolored still. And I'll put it on my list to find a replacement, but like I said, in the time of this filming, I wasn't able to. All right, so we can reinstall that, and we're just going to start it by hand. And once you get it started, you can put the socket back on there, and then we'll just snug it down. And that's it. We don't want to go too tight on that. Just tight enough that it doesn't pop back off. Right? Now let's move on to the air filter. This bolt right, or this little screw I should say right here, is all it takes to get that out of the way. And once we get that loose, you'll see here's our filter. You might need to use your pick to grab that because it's kind of tucked in there. But there it is, and it's definitely dirty, you know. So I'll go ahead and get my replacement here so you can see just a little bit cleaner. Now, some filters are where they want you to soak it down, but I wasn't able to find any information saying that that was the case with this. It's just a cloth filter, so we'll slide that back into place. You can see it sits in there like so. And if this is covered in dirt or whatever, you could wipe this out. This one does not have a ton of debris in it, so it's in pretty good shape. We'll just go ahead and put that back on. This doesn't take a lot of time. Maintenance on these things is pretty simple. You know, if you have to take the carburetor off, yeah, it gets a little more complicated, but for the most part, it's a pretty simple task. All right, lastly, we got the most difficult part, and I use the word difficult loosely. I got that old knife that I got from Dallas Rifle a while back. That's perfect, man. I've been using the heck out of that thing. All right, we'll get that out of its packaging. And there it is. It's a real fine filter. So we'll set that off to the side. This part is a little tougher. It's easier if the unit's out of gas, but it sits down in there on a tube And we've got to fish that out through this. So it's a little bit of a trick, but it's not the end of the world there. It just takes her a little bit of patience. So I'm going to tilt that up, and hopefully you can see that there's quite a bit of gas still in this. The first thing you're going to do is go ahead and remove that. And then, well, now it's time to take our pick and try to see if we can grab that. Oh, look at that on the first try. And I'm having a hard time seeing what I'm doing because, unfortunately, there it is. The camera's kind of in the way. So there it is. Wow, that was... Of course, I forgot to hit record when I actually did that. But like I showed you, you're going to use your pick and pull that hose out and just hold it long enough. There's no clamp or anything on this filter. It literally just pops off the rubber hose. You pop your new one on and you can see how nasty that one there is. Stuff it back down the hole, and the last thing you need to do is put your gas cap back in. Stuff that little saver down in the hole, and you're good to go. Now, biggest problems with these are going to be just the regular tune-up items like I just showed. If that doesn't fix it, a lot of times your gas has gone stale or just gone outright bad. And rarely you'll need to rebuild the carburetor, but honestly, I can count on one finger how many times I've had to take a carburetor off of one of these weed whackers to rebuild it. 99% of the time, you're talking about stale gas, maybe some varnish built up, but usually you can clean that out with a can of carb clean without ever removing it from the unit. That'll do it for today, my friends. It's how to give a tune-up to the Husqvarna 128. I think this is the D model, but it's pretty much the same on Husqvarna and Toro models. So if you have, or I think Ryobi as well is also the same. So if you have one of these engines, I hope this helped. Until next time, my friends, take care.